Welcome everybody to the Let's Talk Post-Grad podcast with Whitney and Tess. We are so excited to have you join us, and we are excited for you to listen to our guest this week. We have Allie on, who is just the sweetest all-around individual, so thoughtful, and we really enjoyed talking with her. We feel like it was such a wholesome conversation, and she's been through a lot of major pivots in her life in the last, 6-7 months since she's graduated, and has had it for another one. And so she had a lot to share and a lot of really good advice to kind of give to us, share with us.
Yeah, she was really cute, really easy to talk to. I feel like this one will be an easy listen, kind of just tell you what you need to hear, straight to the point, very clear. So I hope you guys enjoy it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to everything that we have. Please remember to do that. We are trying to grow, baby. And don't forget to rate us if you're listening on Apple Pod. That helps us to move up so people can find us. I'm literally waving my moisturizer around. Yeah, sure. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors. All right.
And as always, thank you for the support, and let's just jump right into it. Hello, Allie. Oh, you're connecting. We'll give you a second.
Hi. Sorry. Yeah. It's always that awkward moment where that they are trying to talk to you and you're like, hold on. Hi. Sorry.
Hey. Thank you. It's been a minute, but we're excited. Yeah. I'm excited to catch up with you via podcast.
Me too. I'm so excited. And Tess, nice to meet you.
Gosh,
hello.
Nice to meet you on the camera. We love it. We love recording first time meeting.
But yeah, I'm so glad to talk to you guys too. I'm really excited. I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, when I asked you, I was like, I hope this isn't weird, like out of the blue.
No.
I saw your post about moving to Minnesota and like moving to Indianapolis, and I was like, oh, she could have like an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy 3 months here for me. So yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, that Facebook post was so confusing too. I had so many people texting me. They're like, so you're in Minnesota? I'm like, no, I'm still in Indiana. I'm like, it's this whole big thing. Like, it was just so confusing. I don't think anyone got it. I don't know. It was not successful.
We have a million questions to ask you about that, but we like to do an icebreaker. I don't know. An icebreaker makes it sound like we're doing like 2 truths and a lie, and like that's not what
I love icebreakers. I was a TA for a biology lab at 8 a.m. on Wednesdays and with freshmen, and they hated me because the first 3 labs, I was like, we're doing icebreakers. And they're like, I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care about these people. And I made them do icebreakers at 8 a.m. So I love icebreakers.
I feel like that's so on brand for you.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, we could do a like personality game with you. So basically with that, we would ask you 2 questions, and then it would just kind of give viewers and yourself an insight into like who you are, and kind of also without you telling us directly, if that makes sense. Or I could do a tarot card reading.
Oh.
But I would just do one. So it'd be like your horoscope pretty much, like for the day.
Oh, wow.
Whitney just got me these, so I act like I'm a professional. I'm really not.
That's so exciting, though. That's so exciting. I don't care. I'll do either one, but I've never had my tarot card read before.
Okay. Do you want to? Maybe we can do that. It might be something about moving.
Okay, maybe. That's so exciting. Yeah, I've never done this before.
Now that we've talked to you for like 10 minutes, now your cards are going to be like, oh, well, this aligns.
I know. I feel like they're so generalized. I feel like you really could just make it match what's going on with your life, but you never know. I did a reading last night to a couple of my friends, and they were a little shook. So,
wow. Wait, that's exciting. I want to be shook.
Okay, so you can either pick from the top or from the middle.
Okay,
which
from
one
the middle.
Do you want?
The middle.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I hope that this is like good and not just like so awful beforehand, and then I feel so salty. Oh my God, she got the same one as you, Whitney.
Oh, the 6 of
Oh.
Cups.
The Six of Cups. So you can kind of like look at the picture. I don't know if that helps with anything, but that's
Okay.
what it looks like, the Six of Cups. So let me go to my book now because your girl is a newbie and doesn't understand what everything is
I
yet.
was gonna be so impressed if you knew it right off the top of your head. I was like, she
No,
know what that means?
I know, you should
literally
know
no
that.
idea. Okay, so the Six of Cups means that you're being called to embrace family and friends with kindness and compassion. Spread your love and sweetness to those you care about and nurture your connections. You might also be feeling a little nostalgic. Maybe there's something painful from your childhood that needs examining. Just don't forget to be kind to your past self. Embrace them.
Okay, that's so weird because like an hour before you called me, my grandparents from Florida called me and like my grandfather like actually has to go into the hospital. So I'm like super like I just want to be home with my family right now and like I just want to be with them and like I'm just like
Oh my
that's so
God.
weird.
I'm so
That's so
sorry. I don't
Oh
know
my
what
gosh,
to
no.
say.
No. He's gonna be okay. He's like fine. He's not like it's not a life or death situation. He's just like, but it's just like one of the that's so weird.
Wow, a little
Ooh.
nostalgic.
Wow.
One of those things.
I'm,
Yeah. And I just want to be home. Like I'm just it made me more anxious to be home and like want to be with my family. So I feel like that's wow, okay, thanks. I like that.
I'm happy you were like aligned with that and identify with it. That's so good.
Yeah. I don't know if that's one of those things though where like you do that with whatever you get, like you always project it on your own life. I don't know if that's
Oh,
I like to think
absolutely. Yeah, like that could be way off course and you're like, honestly, it matches what I did 5 years ago, so it obviously is me now.
yes. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like I'm not into astrology at all, but I'm a cusp baby, so I like fall right on the deadline for Gemini and Taurus. So I feel like it sets me up even more.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Is that exciting? Again, I don't really
No,
know a lot
that's
about
so interesting.
it.
My sister's a Gemini, my boyfriend's a Taurus, and obviously they're both really
Oh.
important to me. And I'm curious like what your tendencies are with that. But I'm not trying to be a witch, so we can like proceed. We can proceed with the podcast because this is not what we're here for tonight.
I like it though. That's so funny. But yeah, just like yeah, that's totally
Yeah.
relevant to ours.
So
But
we just like to kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's cool to like see what's going on in your life and like break the ice, I
yeah.
guess, a little bit, even though we were already chatting. But I feel like, so what has it been? So what are you doing in Indiana now?
Okay, so I'm actually a live-in nanny. So I'm living with a family and they are the husband and wife are both surgeons. So he is a neurosurgeon and she is an ENT surgeon, like ear, nose, and throat. And they both have crazy schedules. Work 10 hours a day, work 12 hours a day, and they have a newborn son. He's
Oh my gosh.
just actually turned 6 months old. So they have a nanny that comes during the day and does like a curriculum with them. Like she's like a career nanny and like has been, and she's like 50 and she's wonderful. And then like I watch the baby in the morning and the evenings. And like when they have to go in overnight, I watch the nanny or watch the baby. So yes, so I'm nannying. And when I originally moved out here, because I moved out here the beginning of November, I had been planning on going to grad school out here and I had started my applications and everything like that. But um, within being here, I got the job at Mayo Clinic. So it was actually like a week after being here that they reached out to me and asked for an interview. And I honestly had applied so long before coming here and I had completely forgot about it. And then it kind of came out of the blue, came back up. And so
Oh my
it was
God.
yeah, not great timing because I would have loved to stay here and been with this family longer because they're absolutely wonderful and like they have so many connections and they would have really been they wanted to help me like get into grad school and work at the
Oh,
hospital and everything like that. But like unfortunately timing wise this just came and I really can't say no to the Mayo Clinic. It's kind of the biggest brand name
wow.
you can get in the hospital. So now I'm going and I've only really been here 2 months, but it's been really fun and he is so cute. He's the cutest little baby
Oh,
and
oh my God.
I'm
I want to touch a baby so bad. Like that sounds creepy, but I just feel like being with a baby releases so many, what is it? Endorphins? I don't even know.
yes,
I just
and
feel like
the endorphins are flowing all the time. Yeah, it's so
serotonin.
sweet. Yes, so much serotonin. He's so sweet, and I get to see him like when he wakes up and when he goes to bed at night. So
Ah,
it's his cuddliest time of day, and I literally just get to cuddle with a baby all day. So it's like really sweet.
Oh my, I'm literally like, I have tears in my eyes. I have such bad cute aggression that makes me want to scream.
Oh goodness. Yeah, it's really
Wow.
sweet. I
Wow.
would
What
recommend any
what made you want
babysitting.
a nanny? I feel like that's so
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah, so I've always babysat. Like I literally started babysitting as like 11-year-old when I like really didn't have any authority to watch.
Honestly, same.
Yes. So I've been nannying or babysitting like my whole life. Is that what I said? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since 11.
Okay. Yes. Since I was
Same.
11, since I was very, very little. Yeah. And like not okay to be nannying anyone. Um, like I should not have had that responsibility. So I've always babysat, and I was actually babysitting this past 2 summers for this family who was the dad was my high school teacher. So I'd known him like since I was, I don't know, 14. And so I had been babysitting for him for a really long time, just on and off. And when I would go home on breaks, even from college, I'd babysit for them. And so when they had another baby, so they had 3 kids, they had an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and then a newborn. I was watching them last summer, the summer before senior year. And then I came home again this summer after quarantine and all that stuff, and I was watching them again. So I've been nannying for a while, and like that was much harder than this because that was not just cuddling with a baby like in the morning and the evenings. That was like helping the 2 older kids with online school and getting them on their Zooms, and also like having a crying newborn during that whole process. So that was really
Oh,
stressful. And I love them though, and they like absolutely are the dearest little kids, and they still mean a lot to me. And I get to text their parents, and they draw me pictures and send me letters and stuff like
oh
that. So
my
it's really,
gosh.
really sweet.
That's
Yeah,
so sweet.
yeah, it's so
Aw.
cute. It's so cute. But it's like I don't know. I've like my whole life been like a mom. Like I've always done this to kids. Again, I started babysitting at 11, like when I was not appropriate at all for me to watch other children. Like, but I just have like such paternal instincts. And I do this to my friends too. Like I'm the total mom in the friend group, and like I love to take care of people and everything. So like I have like unhealthy attachments to these children too. I'm like, I leave and I'm like worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, is Cece gonna remember to do her math homework? Like I'm here in Indiana, and I'm like, I wonder if Cece's still writing her B's backwards. Like, it's just like it's too much. Like, I need to calm down.
That is so sweet, Allie. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I just love them, and I've always loved kids. So nannying's been really fun, and it's also just like a good way to hone all your skills too, because like it was really interesting talking about it when like interviewing for like real full-time jobs, like because people initially are like, oh, you're a nanny, but when you talk about it, and it's like you're almost getting customer service experience, because like you're dealing with the parents and like managing your relationship with them, and like you have to perform in
Yeah.
order for them to like be impressed with you and keep you on, and like you also though have
Yeah.
to deal with the expectations of like children. So like I don't know, it's really interesting balance, and it's really, I think, helped me like just get to know people and get to know like how to be able to manage like all different types of people. So I love nannying, and it's something that I think would benefit a lot of people too. I think it's always
Wow.
been a good thing. Yeah. So
That's so interesting. I really admire that because, like, I personally, I used to babysit when I was really young too, but I feel like I went the total opposite direction and like feel so uncomfortable around children. Like,
oh, really?
genuinely uncomfortable around anybody that's not an adult.
Did you have
And
a bad experience? Like, did some kid like do you really wrong? Like, what
I
happened?
did have 2 kids that were really rough, like, for an
Oh,
example, like, there was a pool outside, like, one of those, like,
um,
2-foot kiddie pools, and I'd be like, "Okay, we're not gonna go swimming today," and then the one girl would dare her brother to jump in it, and they would both jump
oh,
in it, and I had to wrangle these kids to get out of the pool, and their
oh
parents came
goodness.
home, and I was wrangling them, and I was just like, "Get out of the pool," and it was bad, and I felt like
Yeah.
that happened stuff like that happened to me a lot when I was babysitting,
Yeah,
and
kids are the worst. Like sometimes they just do not listen, and it's just like so frustrating because it's like this child obviously doesn't have the reason, like, and logic to like be able to discuss with me why they don't want to do this thing. Like they are just gonna yell at me and scream at me, and it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Allie, do you have brothers and sisters, or are you an only child?
I'm a middle, so I'm a middle and an only girl. So I have an older brother and a younger brother. So I try to think that I don't have the middle child syndrome because I'm the only girl. Like I get the attention that way, but I don't know. I think I'm still kind of a middle child who just wants to make everyone else
Sometimes
happy.
I'm just like, I'm curious if like if you have siblings or like wherever you fall in that line, if that has an effect on like how you
Hmm.
handle children, because I know I'm the youngest and I love children. And I feel like it's because my brother and sister were too old and not play with me anymore. So they just
Oh
kind of gave
yeah.
up on me. And I feel like I crave playing and
Yeah.
letting loose and being with people now as an adult. So I
Yeah.
think that's why I like children so much, because I'm like, okay, this is literally something I can play with all the time.
Yeah, that
Do you know
makes
what I
sense.
mean?
Yeah.
Whitney's
I've done
like,
it
what are
thinking
you
about
talking about?
she has none of those.
Whitney doesn't like children. She doesn't. It
Yeah.
irritates her.
I really admire it. I really do. And I think it's awesome that you're like, because I agree, it's such a good skill to have. And you have all these
Yeah.
different like ways to build relationships with people and do conflict management and like
Mhm.
just keep your
Definitely
cool.
conflict management. Yeah. Thanks. I mean, yeah, it's been really interesting. And I think it's been like harder and like taught me more than I ever thought it would. I think I thought it was like the easy option, especially like when I didn't have a job after graduation. I was like, oh, I'll just go be a nanny again. But like I think it's really like helped me more than I like ever thought it would. But yeah. Yeah. So I enjoy it. I'm gonna honestly like when I start this job in Minnesota, like a full-time job, I'm gonna miss being around kids all the time. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might start babysitting on the weekends just so that I can hang out with some kids. Whitney's like, no thanks.
Honestly, I respect it. I don't know.
Yeah,
When it comes to kids, they just kind of make me.
it's fair. Like it's totally fair. I have friends like that too. Like some of my friends were like, "You're going to Indiana to watch a baby," and I'm like, I'm like, yes, don't you, aren't you jealous? And they just don't get it either. So I totally get it.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for not shaming me.
Oh, I never, never.
So what are you doing in Minnesota with the Mayo Clinic? That's like a really crazy next step.
Yeah, so definitely going to be really different. I'm going to be a genetic counseling assistant. So I had originally, when I graduated, wanted to go to grad school for genetic counseling, but hadn't gotten in. So, and that happened like literally like as the pandemic was breaking, I was getting rejected from like all the grad schools I applied
Oh
to.
my
So it was like
god.
so heartbreaking. But like, and then I was trying to find a job and all this stuff. And it's been, I'm sure everyone you talk, like the people you talk to on here, all have different experiences with the job process post graduation, especially this year and with our
Mhm.
class. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's definitely hard, and especially like I had no clue what I was getting into, and I like hadn't even thought about a job before the pandemic because I thought I was going to grad school. So I was like jumping
Wow.
headfirst into the job search when it was all shutting down and everything, and especially too like genetic counseling. It mainly happens in hospitals and university settings, and those were the things on
Wait,
hiring
um,
freezes.
can I
Oh,
ask
sorry.
what is
Yeah.
genetic counseling?
Oh, yeah,
Am
sorry,
I an
I should have
idiot? I don't.
explained that. No, 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 I should have explained that. Ugh, I'm so bad. I need to
No,
be
you're
better at this. Need to be better about this. Yes, I'm so sorry. No, so genetic counseling is a service that's like a healthcare provider, and it's kind of an aid to a physician or something else. It's a specialist that you can see. So a lot of the time we're working with families who are getting genetic testing done, and it's just helping them interpret their testing results and also help them find care that's moving forward. So, like when someone needs to get genetic testing done, it's either because they have symptoms and need to find a disease that fits the symptoms, and there might be a genetic link to it, or they've already been diagnosed with a rare disease that has a genetic component, and they want to find out their susceptibility that so that they can inform their family then. So a lot of the time it's like for prenatal cases where it's like if two people are planning on having a baby together but know that someone in their family has a history of a rare disease, it can be used that way too. So
Oh
yeah,
my
so it's just
gosh.
really it's truly like a counseling role because you're just helping people through this process of genetic testing, and like and there's a huge education component too because a lot of people don't even like think about what their genes are and how they relate to like their actual human beingness
Oh my god.
and everything. So it's a really interesting role within healthcare where I think you get to do a lot of like the counseling and like actually education aspect of it and a lot of like
Yeah,
bedside stuff. Yeah. So that's what
that's
genetic
so
counseling is.
cool.
Sorry. Sorry I
No,
didn't
I feel
explain
like
it.
that's such an interesting way in healthcare. I feel like kind of just getting a glimpse of who you are in just like the 5 minutes, that just feels like it suits you. That's so cool. I didn't realize that was a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
so
I
that
did, and I'm just an idiot in agriculture and doesn't know what's happening
no,
outside in
no,
the
no.
world.
No, that's the thing. It's like only really become a thing because genetic testing, like since genetic testing has become widely available. So it's really been like a career that's grown over the past 20 years. And it's
Wow.
not really well known or well funded, like genetic counseling in general. But it's really useful. And yeah, I was really lucky to find it. I actually had like a high school biology teacher who had a friend who was a genetic counselor, so she like told us all about it, and like I really got introduced to it pretty young because a lot of people don't find out about it until they're in college and like taking a genetics course or a like careers in biology course. So I was lucky to find
Cool.
about it when I was like pretty young, and it was kind of a goal throughout college that I knew I wanted to do this. And yeah, it's like a really niche type of field, but I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that's what I'll be.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, it was definitely heartbreaking not getting into grad school, but I'm really excited now. So I'm a genetic counseling assistant at the Mayo Clinic. So I'll be working directly with genetic counselors and their patients in order to like collect family history information and also just some of the more like logistical things like insurance and like all of that stuff, scheduling appointments and stuff like that. But I'll kind of get to see the inner workings of the field. So I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You also touched on a few reasons why I feel like Tess and I wanted to start the pod,
Uh-huh.
the
Cool.
podcast
I
because
like calling it the pod. That's so cute.
yeah, like just we wanted to
The
start the
pod.
pod because
We literally always say that. We say this week on the pod.
That's so cute.
um because I feel like when everything happened with uh coronavirus, there
Hmm.
was like as graduates of the 2020 class, we were like so confused and a lot of our friends are kind of piecing it together now, kind of how you pieced it together, but there was so much
Hmm.
confusion and so much like comparison and so much like, well, this person has a job and
Yeah.
like, what did I do? And like, just so much like, well, they have it better, or like, just so many different paths that
Oh my
somebody could
gosh.
take. And we were like, there's
Yes.
no shame in any of those paths. All those paths are like awesome and unique and individual and like we'll take somebody where they need to go, but there was
Yeah.
just so many directions and we wanted to like
Mm.
provide a platform for people to share the
I think
different
this is
directions.
great. Yeah, I think that's so great too, because like I know even within my friend group, like I have a pretty big friend group from school and we stayed pretty close. Like we do weekly Zooms and everything like that. It's really fun. But I know even just within like our group of like 15 people, like some people are in PhD school, like some people are now applying to grad school, some people are still looking for jobs, and some people like had jobs before the pandemic and lost them. Some people had jobs before and are now in them. Like it's literally
Wow.
so different, like even within our group of friends. And yeah, it's been really hard too. It's hard. It's been nice to like have this sense of community though, because like
Yeah.
even my friends who
Yes.
have had jobs like are like so grateful for their jobs too and everything. So yeah, I totally think this is wonderful because it is so different. And I know when I was like still searching for a job and working as a nanny, I was like, oh, I should have a job. I should be doing this. I like wished I was jealous of my friends who had jobs. I was really jealous of my friends who had jobs
Mhm.
like from September and who like still have jobs and still haven't started. I have so many friends who um were in accounting and like KPMG and finance and all that stuff. Like I don't understand any of it, but they all have they all have jobs and they start in January. I'm like, that must have been nice to like kick back and relax until you started your
Wow.
job in January. I was a little jealous, but like, yeah, it's just really different for everyone, I think.
Yeah. So what was that process? So like when everything happened, you took a cross country road trip and then you came to Indianapolis to be a nanny and now you're headed to Minnesota. It's been such a crazy six
Yeah.
months.
It has been the craziest time since graduation. So I went right when the pandemic hit, like for spring break. I know that's when that's it's the craziest thing too that that's when the pandemic really started was like when all of us were on our spring break. Like
Yeah.
absolutely insane. Because I was in
Oh my
Canada.
God.
Like I was with my closest friends that friend group, and we were in Canada, and we were like, we're gonna just stay in this cabin in Canada throughout the whole COVID pandemic, and we're just gonna hang out. Like that's what we like
Oh my
thought was gonna
Yeah.
happen. And like looking back
You
now,
would
we're like,
still be there. You
I'd
would
still
literally
be in
still be sitting
Canada.
there.
Still be in Canada. It was like it wasn't until like Justin Trudeau like had COVID or was suspected of having COVID and they were talking about shutting down the border, we were like, okay, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that same group then though, we all stayed in state college because a lot of us were living alone in our apartments because our roommates didn't come back. So a lot of us stayed in state college until graduation. So we were just like, and it was a ghost town, and we had like our little isolation pod, and we just hung out, and it was really nice. And that like was great to be able to have those couple of months with those people before people started their jobs and all that stuff. But then, yeah,
Wow.
in July, I took a cross country road trip, which was absolutely incredible. We drove from New Jersey to San Francisco, and that was so
Wow.
fun.
Do you
Yeah,
Oh
have
it
a
was
my
so
god.
favorite
much.
How
place?
long?
Yeah, so my really good guy friend, his name's Grant, he had a job at Capital One in San Francisco, and he obviously had to take all his stuff in his car. So he called me on a Thursday, and he was planning on leave the following Tuesday. And he's like, "Do you want to come with me?" Because his friend from home backed out. And then I was like, at that time, I wasn't nannying yet, and I really didn't have any responsibilities. So I was like, sure. So I just like totally last minute, like dropped everything and went with him on this trip, and it was so much fun. It was the
Oh
best
my
time.
god. Good
Yeah,
for
it was cool.
you.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun.
Oh my god. How long was it? Like the full trip?
So we took a really meandering route because we wanted to stop and see all of our friends who like kind of lived spread out across the country on the way. So it in total took 2 weeks because we went the northern route to like Milwaukee and then of course hit Rochester, Minnesota for the Chipotle. And then we went to the Badlands in South Dakota because that was the only thing I wanted to see. I was like, this is the only stop I request. So we went to the Badlands, South Dakota, but then he wanted to go see our friend in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we drove straight south across the entire country to
Oh
South
my
or
gosh.
to New Mexico, and then we went to San Francisco. So it ended up taking like
Wow.
2 weeks. Yeah, it was quite a trip, but it was so much fun. It was the best time.
That's awesome. I
Yeah, I
always feel
mean,
so
that's
lucky.
everyone's dream. Everyone talks about
Yeah.
doing that, and like whoever follows through on that, Allie, I guess, is the only one.
Grant because he forced me into doing it. But yeah, it was so much fun. I'm glad I
That's
went.
that's great. I always feel so grateful that we live in a country where it's like you can go so many different places in one
Yes,
country and like there's
yes,
no exchanging of the passports. You're just like, oh yeah, like it's huge and there's so many things to explore and it's all so geographically variable. I absolutely love it. I
huge.
feel so lucky all the time to like have that as a privilege.
Yeah. Now that you say it, like it is crazy to think that like we went so far and like no one stopped us, like no one checked in on us, no one was like, "Where are you going?" That's is really crazy to think about.
No, it's like one of those moments in life where you're like, I could actually like do whatever, and like no one's gonna stop me.
Who's gonna stop me?
This
Yeah.
is I'm an adult.
That's really what it is. It's still all coming to the realization that I'm an adult. Yeah,
No,
but
it's very true.
yeah. So
What is
yeah, that oh, sorry, go ahead, Whitney.
I was just gonna ask, what is it like to now be in a place where you're trying to move to Rochester, Minnesota, where you're not necessarily familiar totally with the place, and like, what are some things that you're doing to like make yourself feel ready and like excited for that move?
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting and different than moving to Indianapolis. Because when I was moving here, it's different when I am moving into a family. Like I was moving into a family's house and like I knew I was gonna have a network of people because like I literally live with people and like they are going to be there for me, and they're also really great.
Yeah.
But it is definitely different thinking about moving to Rochester just because it will be me. I'm gonna be living in a one-bedroom apartment alone, so, like, I will be on my own, but it is nice to be able to think about the possibilities that that comes with, like, I'll be able to go and meet my neighbors, and also, like, I'll be working. The one downside to nannying is you're really not meeting people at work. Like, that's just not, like, I don't have coworkers, you know what I mean? Like,
Your
other than
coworker is sleeping.
yes, the 6-month-old is sleeping, and he's not a great coworker, but he doesn't want to go get drinks after work. You know what I mean? Like, so the idea of like that is really exciting with Rochester, and that like I'll be able to meet people and like be able to meet people at work who are interested in the same thing that I am. So that's really, really exciting. And that's been helping a lot with that. And also, I'm really lucky to have friends who did internships in Rochester, Minnesota too. And they still have a network of friends out there. So I'm getting like introduced via text to like new people who I
That's
will
so
hopefully
good.
eventually get to meet.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really, really lucky. And I'm really excited still. It's just, I know that it's going to be scary, especially too with your tarot, coming back to the tarot card reading and like getting this news and everything and like the whole connection with my family. It's definitely going to be hard to move away from them, but I understand that like with technology today and being able to FaceTime and like Zoom everyone, it's like
Mhm.
definitely makes it a hell of a lot easier to like be able to keep in touch and stay connected with them. So that's the hardest part, I think, is like knowing that I'm moving away from them for probably a long time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Wow. You are so clear. Like, I feel like you know what to say and you're not around the bush. You say it right. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. I just feel like I'm
well,
really,
I feel like I'm rambling. So like I am so I don't know.
no, I think
But
it's good.
thank you.
I'm curious, like you touched on how you're talking to your friends and reaching out to them via text. That so you must have a really good group of people that you care about and you have a good group of friends. What is that like to move away from them and all be in different parts? Because I know I'm struggling with that, Whitney's struggling
Mhm.
with that, and I know my relationship with Whitney has kind of been heightened because we moved away from each other. So I don't know if you're
Mhm.
experiencing that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely hard with that whole friend group that I was talking about earlier. We totally scattered. Again, everyone's doing different things and everyone's in different parts of the world. So like we have a couple friends in California, we have a couple friends in Texas, we have people in Montana, Milwaukee, like all over the place. So like everyone is geographically separated. But I do think that's one of the blessings of the pandemic is that no one's really going out and making new friends. As bad as that is, like as bad as much as you like wish your friends were doing better in the cities that they're in, like no one's really like going out
Yeah.
and making a new network of friends. So we are still all really reliant and like really good about like keeping in touch with each other and like making sure
Yeah.
we're like calling each other pretty often and like going on Zoom calls together. We do trivia. It's either like every once a week or like once every other week.
Ooh.
That's so
So
fun.
yeah, so we do like someone will make a trivia, just like a PowerPoint, and we all like get on Zoom together and we'll like go through it. And it's funny too, because whoever makes the trivia, it's definitely like their questions that they wanted to ask. So like mine was like biology, but also like there was some like really interesting like celebrity pop gossip and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it was like total mix of just like things that I like and like so it's really fun. It's like a great way to stay in touch with each other because it's hard to like get on a FaceTime with or a Zoom with like 10 people and just like start talking and like find things to
Yeah.
talk about. But having the trivia like gives us a purpose and then we all just like end up chatting and keeping in touch with each other that way. So yeah, it's definitely been challenging and I think the pandemic has allowed us to stay closer than we would have if we had all been moving to our new cities and like making new friends. So hopefully, as the vaccine comes out and restrictions lift and everything like that, as everyone makes their new friends, they still will be able to keep up with these habits that we formed of like being able to go on Zooms and like make phone calls. That's my hope
Yeah.
anyway. Like, I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing because like I immediately when I have like a free 10 minutes now, like when I just like FaceTime my friend in California, like I just FaceTime her right
Oh my
away. So
God, get me in my heart.
are
So
you a big
fun.
FaceTimer?
I just feel like I don't know. Everything you're saying, I'm nervous about what you're saying, the whole thing when everything goes back to normal, that people are going to still want to FaceTime and Zoom and do all these things that we've been doing. And
Mhm.
that I've been having that in the back of my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen when people make friends? We're all just all going to fall off the face of the earth and I'll never see them again. And like, that could also just be my anxiety, and that's a me problem.
I have very similar like spiraling thoughts too. So
Yeah,
don't worry, not
literally
just you.
spiral all day long. Here I go.
Yes.
Even while I'm working, spiraling currently. No, but I feel like I really appreciate FaceTiming and calling people. Whitney and I literally will make a schedule and be like, when are you free to talk? Because we need to catch up. And with this podcast,
Oh.
it's nice that we can see each other, but we still make another 2-hour block later in the week to talk again. So I feel like that's really good that you do that. And it's hard because, nowadays we all are just so shut off and want to be alone in our little rabbit holes. So I think that doing that's really important. So
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. I don't think though that your friends will stop wanting to FaceTime you. I think they'll still want to FaceTime.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful to talk with on Zoom, so I think they'll still want. If they don't want to, you can FaceTime me. I'll FaceTime
Well, you
you.
have to say that.
Nuh-uh. I love honestly, I'm like known within my friends as like random FaceTimer. Like I will just like totally out of the blue, no text warning, like I will just FaceTime you. And like sometimes when people do that to me, they're like, "Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry." I'm like, "No, no, no. Like I'm FaceTiming you and I want you to answer. Like even though I gave you no warning, I expect you to answer me."
Well, sometimes that's my nightmare. I'm like, I don't want sometimes I call me and I look rough. I'm like, can you just call?
I guess that's true. I really didn't think about that. Maybe my friends just don't care about my opinion of what they look like anymore. But I don't know.
We also talked about how we think that maybe the pandemic has made it like has normalized Zoom calls because all of like our group of friends were doing Zoom calls like way before we graduated. Like it was already the norm. We were already like every Thursday, this is our plan. And so now it's like totally more normal than I think it would have been if we just graduated. We were like, everyone, like, do we want to try like what's this Zoom? Like, should we try
I heard about this new thing. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Zoom and like Zoom classes and all that, like, everyone has it downloaded on their computer. Like, there's no excuse to not like get on Zoom. Like, it's super easy.
They can't play games.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember when like school went online initially and professors were just like, we're gonna do it on Zoom now? I'm like, no one like told us how to use Zoom or like what the platform even is. I just remember being like, this is what we're doing. Like,
yeah. And now I'm like a Zoom expert. I'm like, oh, I'll make the meeting, I'll schedule the time, the password, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like a Zoom expert now. Yeah. It would be crazy if we didn't have Zoom from the pandemic and everything. Again, another blessing that's come out of the pandemic.
So, yeah, I like how you're looking at things like their blessings. And I think as hard as this has been and as challenging as it's been, there's definitely been some positives. And I know I'm privileged to like say that there's been positives, but like there have been some things that like have been a really good mental reset or have given us resources to stay connected with people that we love. And like even though we might be moving to Rochester, Minnesota, like it's all good.
Yeah, it's still cool. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I am really, really fortunate that it has been mainly blessings for me throughout this pandemic. And I know that's not the case for everyone, but yeah, I'm really, really grateful for this time. And also just like I got to live at home with my parents, which I might not have been able to otherwise, which has been it was a stressful and definitely a learning experience moving in with your parents again. But yeah, it's definitely been a lot of good has come out of it. And my relationships, I think, with a lot of people have benefited from this time.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. You're still good. Like, I feel like there's no complaints. I'm always complaining.
Oh, I complain. I do complain.
Yeah, but I just feel like you're so sweet. Such a lovely girl to talk to. Wow.
Oh, thank you. You guys are great to talk to too. Oh, Whitney, do you remember on Aurora? I complained. Trust me, I complained.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that's where you guys met. That's so interesting.
I feel like it was such a bonding experience. That's why I felt like it was okay for me to reach out to you and be like, I know it's been a minute, but like, or like 4 years, but like, do you want to chat?
Totally okay. Yeah.
I feel like when you hike with people, you really bond when you can't shower for 3 days.
Oh, 100%. When you're like living in the woods together and you smell awful.
Oh, it smells so bad.
So bad. Oh, so bad.
Yeah. So I would do that again. One good thing about Minnesota, it's like the land of lakes.
Yes, I'm very excited. That's my goal, is to make friends who have a boat because I want to be able to go boating in the summer.
Wow, a
So yeah.
strategic friend maker, we love it.
Like, how can this friend benefit me?
Yes. I feel like it might just happen from circumstance, but just me trying to manifest it.
Yeah, no, you are our 3rd guest. I don't know if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, but you're our 3rd guest that has talked about manifesting in a row. I feel like is, like, either totally realistic or trendy or a little bit of both.
Mine
Um,
is like it
That one for sure.
Yeah, definitely like a little bit of both. But like I feel like it's just what I say, like when weird circumstances happen and like I do manifest things. I feel like it's such a fun joke to be with like your friends. Like I did this, like in my head. Like my friends and I would say we were manifesting things all of the time and it was not true, but it's fine.
I think that sometimes it is. I just recently got a
Right?
job and I was like, I just kept imagining
Congratulations.
myself over and over again getting a call that says that I got the job. And I was like, this
Yes.
is what it's gonna be like. It's gonna happen. And then it happened. And I was like, I did
Okay.
it. I
Okay,
manifested.
I think you can manifest. I don't know if I can manifest, but
Did you consider looking for roommates at all? Or are you like very excited and ready to live on your own?
I considered it. Mayo and Rochester in general, from what I've gathered, is very interesting in that like the whole town is literally just comprised of Mayo employees. And like because when I was calling again these realtors with their Minnesota accents, they like didn't even ask me where I got a job. They just like assumed I got a job at the clinic. That's what they call it too. Like,
Oh
and
my
so
god.
the whole town is just literally people who work at the Mayo Clinic. So I was like thinking of trying to find roommates, but I couldn't find any like convenient like posting boards or like
Mhm.
anything like that. And I didn't really want to like post my own thing. So I lived alone a couple of times in the summer in apartments. So I know I can like do it and I really enjoyed those experiences. So once I found out that like one bedroom apartments were in my price range and I didn't really need roommates, I was excited about living alone. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about it.
That's yeah, I get that. I
Yeah.
think that living alone can be really relaxing and like you don't
Yeah.
have anybody to report. Not that I need to report to anybody, but there's you just all the decisions are yours. They're all
Yeah.
yours.
Yes. You
No,
do
I
what you
totally
want.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I found that living alone because my sophomore or no, my junior and senior year, I lived only with one other roommate, and those were good experiences. But my sophomore year, I lived with like four other girls, and it was just like overwhelming. So
Mhm.
I think I've learned that like I do best when I can kind of be autonomous, like when I'm at home. Like I'm a very social and extroverted person, like when I want to be, and like when I'm like
Wow.
out in the world, but when I'm at home, like I really just want to be like alone and like be able to like zen out. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Wow, that's exciting. And I think
Yeah.
that
Yes.
your strategy is one that the listeners can take away from. Like I was really I don't know if I feel comfortable enough to do this, but maybe seeing you do it will encourage me to do it. Whenever you reached
Yeah.
out on Facebook and you were like, "Hey, everyone that I know, like I'm just moved here and like if you know anybody or you know any experiences or anything, like let me know." And I thought that was
Yeah.
really great and like for some reason I'm really hesitant to do that. Who knows why? But I thought it was really I
Social
thought
media in general is just a scary place, so I get why you're scared.
but I thought it was so smart,
True.
and, like, it sounds like you got a lot of people that might have been confused, but were, like, also willing to connect you with people, and you feel like that's a strategy you'd recommend?
Yeah, 100%. And it's also just hard to communicate news like that too, especially during a time like this. Like, I don't know,
Mhm.
my mom was like, "Well, did you call this aunt and this aunt and this aunt to tell them about your new job?" And I was like, "You know what? I'll just post it on Facebook so that I don't have to call like all of my
Right.
extended relatives." And also, like, I feel like just in order to keep all my friends up to date, like friends from high school and stuff like that, that I might not talk to all the time. And those are the people who ended up reaching out to me and being like, "Oh, I have this one roommate who was from Rochester," and like all these very small but like meaningful connections. Yeah, I think it was a great strategy to use, and I think more people should do it because again, too, I had my mom like share it and comment on it, and then you know how Facebook does the whole algorithm thing and brings it up. So then her friends were commenting on it, and they were able to give me a lot of advice and like, so
Wow.
it was helpful, and I really do appreciate all the people who reached out from that. And I, again, like I am building a network already, kind of people like secondhand friends who like are already there. So I think it worked out for the best.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's
Do,
so good.
do you have any other advice that you want to share with anybody that might be in a similar situation or a different, like any, because you've kind of jumped around a lot and had a lot thrown at you from grad school to applying for jobs to moving to Minnesota to nannying. And so I feel like if you have any advice or like things that you feel like gave you life and energy and like positive attitude in this, like if you want to share it, I feel like listeners will really
Honestly,
appreciate
yeah, like how do I be like you, Allie? Let me know.
Oh, please. I don't think we need any more of my chaotic energy anywhere. Um, but, but yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to share advice. I feel like I don't have the justification for it. I don't think I feel like I'm qualified to give advice, especially because I just got a job and like I feel like I'm all new at this too. But throughout this whole process, it's just been a lot of like, especially with applying for jobs. My engineering friends told me this. They're like, throw out as many job applications as you can a day. Like just apply to everything and anything. And I think that's just really general advice, but I really honestly did. I had all those job alerts set up on my phone that would text me when I got a job, and I was just applying to like as many jobs as I possibly could. And once I realized though that that wasn't working, I kind of just went with my gut and was like, okay, I'm gonna nanny. And like, I don't know, I just trusted my gut, and I think that's best from a lot of people. Like knowing when to push yourself and knowing also when something might not be the right fit. And just,
Oh,
yeah. So I have friends who are still looking for jobs. And again, like, I think it's hard too because they're at this point in time, it's like they're burnt out from applying to so many jobs. But I think I'm trying to just reassure them that only one person has to say yes, like only one job application has to be
Mhm.
successful,
mhm.
and then you've got it, and then you're golden. So just
Yeah,
keep pushing until you get that one.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice.
yeah,
And yeah, I'm just gonna soak it in for myself too. I think that listening to your gut is really important and like
yes,
not something that I'm not always great at it because I am a big like critical thinker and want to put it
Hmm.
out
yes,
on paper and identify like, well, why would this be better than another one? But at the end of the day, I think that listening to your gut, like it's there for a reason, and like you get
Yeah.
instinctive like yes or no's for like a literal
when you
reason.
say gut, do you mean, because when I think of gut and like your gut instinct,
Hmm.
I think of like your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yeah. I guess
Okay.
heart is a better way
No,
to
I
say
mean,
it than your gut because your
trust
gut's
your
like,
gut is a saying, obviously, but
yeah.
I think it is very interesting because you are actually just trusting your heart, which is
Yeah.
extremely hard for people to do when
Hmm.
you have to almost be logistical when you are finding a job and where you want to
Yeah.
live and how it's going to serve you. So I
Yeah.
think that it is hard to remind yourself to trust your heart because you're just like, my heart doesn't know anything.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Especially like we're coming into becoming adults and like this
yeah.
whole thing feels new and like scary. But I feel like even through that process, like only you know what's best for you. And like deep down,
Yes.
you have
Oh
to
my
know
God,
what that
say it
is.
again. Say it again. I know, I love that. I feel like I'm recently just figuring that out that only I know what's good for myself. I feel like
Hmm.
I've just been hearing a lot of like, well, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. Well, he's doing
Yep.
this, she's doing this. And I feel like you really just need to listen to your own thoughts. And that's all it comes down to at the end of the day. Wow. Good job. You
Yeah.
really called it.
I don't think I'm the first person to say that. I don't think I could take credit for any of that.
I just feel like
But
it's just people misconstrue it, and get
yeah, I
really caught
agree.
up in other things that are happening. It's important to talk about and recognize. So,
100%, I agree. And it was also hard, like, living with my parents, like, because they have their whole opinion about how you should apply for jobs and what your resume should look like and all these things. And like, you obviously love your parents and want to listen to them, but I was like, listen, I gotta listen for me and look out for me, and I know that you are too. But like, let me figure out how to do that best. So
mhm.
I think that was a lot too. But yeah, so yeah, I know. I think that's all my advice. I don't really have anything else. Thank you for such a great reaction. I really don't think it's warranted. Like,
I'm also just really over the top. So this is what you're getting.
no, I just feel like I'm rambling on and dribbling and like
No,
That was good.
Okay,
You're so
thanks.
good. The other question that we like to ask, just to like kind of wrap it up and like
Hmm.
2 words that describe your post-grad life since May 2020. Like if you could just sum it up in 2 words, what would
Oh,
it be for you and why?
oh,
We can give you a minute to think on
no.
it.
I just don't know. I guess, well, I'm just thinking because again, being a nanny, it's a lot of like sitting around and kind of boredom. Like you're just watching kids all day. Like it's just like there's a lot of boredom going on there. And it's like keeping yourself busy and keeping them busy and keeping them active. And it's just like constantly fighting boredom. And it's also just been like very chaotic at the same time. So I'd say like almost like a real big like juxtaposition there of like it's chaos, but it's also kind of boring. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
I
it's
don't
so
know.
interesting because so many of our guests have said like calming and anxious, and they've just like
Yeah,
used words that are oxymoron, but like it's a
that's the
common
word. Yeah.
theme. It's so
Yeah, like total oxymoron. Like this whole time has been, it's just been like you absolutely have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, but also at the same time, it's probably going to be the same thing that happened today. You know what I mean? Like, probably. So I don't know. I would say that, yeah. But
I
that's
think
funny that everyone else like also feels the same way. That makes me feel better, and it's not just me.
no, I think it's so true because you go through so many like pivotal, like huge things, but then your day to day is a lot less chaos. At least for me, I know like
Hmm.
huge pivotal things, moving, getting a new job, living with someone else, and but then at the end of the day, it's like, but my days are still the same. Like
Yeah,
nothing has
yeah,
really changed on a day to day other than these like massive things. But once that's
yeah.
over, it's like, well, now I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I like 100% agree. And it is absolutely crazy. It's a lot to wrap your head around too, because it's like I should be more like excited or like scared or feeling more emotions, but like honestly, it's like just happening, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally get that. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are in a similar place, and I think that you sharing that validates anybody that might feel like, well, why am I bored or why am I not feeling
Yeah.
more emotional or more excited and everything in between? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
testing
Well,
good.
I'm sorry, I literally just started hacking and I didn't want the pod to hear.
oh my goodness.
Too many tarot card readings. Something's taken over.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, we are really grateful for you coming on and like taking an hour to share your experience with us and like your advice and also just like your fun stories about what it's been like to be a nanny and
Well,
sporadically travel
I,
across the country.
yeah, well, I'm so grateful to be able to catch up with you guys and thank you for listening to me. I feel like, again, I feel like I'm just been rambling this whole time. So thank you for letting me. And no, this has been absolutely great. And Tess, I can't believe we haven't met or we didn't meet
I
in
know, here we
college,
are.
but it's really been wonderful to chat with you. And I wish we would have been
Aw.
able to hang out more.
I know, you're
Maybe
so
if
easy to talk to. I feel like this is a really good conversation.
Oh, thanks. I really enjoyed it too. You guys seem to be really good at this. Like honestly, I felt like you've guided the whole conversation like fairly well. So
Wow.
Wow.
congratulations. This is so fun.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations on such a successful podcast. I maybe I don't know.
Validating us.
It's been a really fun side project and it truly did just spawn out of wanting individually not to feel isolated. And so we were like, well, how do we
Hmm.
do that? We need to have more conversations like candidly about this for ourselves.
So fun.
And then
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
like, let's just record them and see if anybody like can also benefit from those candid
Yeah.
conversations because it's so hard to just feel like, I don't know, everyone just graduates and then what do you it's just a crazy
Yeah.
thing and
No,
Yeah.
and I feel like Allie, you probably could also identify with this. Like you make these just deep connections with people, and like, and you go through so much together, just because it's such a transitional period, college, and
Yeah.
everything that you're learning personally and through education, and then after 4 years, it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
see ya.
Like you're not going to see your friends anymore, and you don't all live in the same place anymore, and you don't get to go to the bars together anymore. And then especially in a pandemic when you don't even get to say goodbye. Like, absolutely, I totally agree. I think this is great, and I think this is a fun way too to like keep making connections and everything like that too. So that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you.
I also love that you guys like went and made a podcast, because my friends, we always joke that we're gonna make a podcast because we used to sit up my front porch in State College, and we would just have these like crazy weird conversations, and we'd record them, and I still have the recordings.
Oh my God, just start posting them. That's so funny.
Oh no, I don't think the world needs to hear those conversations. They're kind of crazy and a little explicit, but like, but I love that you guys like actually did make a podcast. It's amazing.
Wow. Thanks for hyping us up. And thank you so much for saying yes to chatting. And I feel like this was really good to reconnect with you. It made my heart.
Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad I got to chat with you too. And after 4 years and those days in Aurora in the woods together, it's nice to be able to chat about our lives now. So it's so fun. Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
well, thank you guys for having me too. This is absolutely great. I feel honored to be.
Oh my gosh.
Best of luck in Minnesota. Please let me know how it goes, and I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. Good luck with your new job. And Tess, sorry, I didn't get an update on your life, but I'm sure it's exciting.
Yeah, literally just listen to the first podcast and you'll be up to date.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go listen to it, and then I'll let you. But right now, I'll just tell you, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for what you're doing.
Oh my God, Allie, you're so cute. I can't.
I feel like so lame, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Allie.
Yeah, you too. Thanks again, guys. This is so fun. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.